Hey, welcome back. Tonight's lesson we're going to talk about making this little widget that you see here. We're going to make it out of aluminum bronze. A lot of times people get worried because there's so many different shapes, but if you break this thing down into individual shapes it becomes relatively simple. We've got a spherical radius on here. The order of operations that we do this is kind of going to become important to us to kind of eliminate some of the steps. Basic shape is, just a rectangle. We've got a little rooftop here, spherical radius, and then another circle, and it's going to have some teeth cut in it. The teeth are going to be pretty basic. We're going to not get too involved in the profile of it, but we're going to move forward and we're going to talk about a little bit about the drawing itself. Here's some of the dimensions that we're going to have size-wise. We're not going to worry too much about the drawing. That's going to be a later assignment. I do have a PDF that has a little bit larger sizes so you can see what's going on with it. So let's go ahead and get started with this thing. Look like we have a rectangle that's 3 inches long, 2 1/4 inches wide. So make sure that you have SolidWorks open and make sure that you're going to be modeling in inches. Go ahead and create a new part. Verify that you are in inches down here in the bottom right hand section when this thing fires up. I am. I look down here, it's IPS, so I'm good to move forward. Features, come up here to this tab. Let's go ahead and change our material. So I want to right click on this command. So right click, edit material. Not a steel, but it is going to be, I think it's aluminum alloys. So aluminum, nope, it's going to be other alloys or copper alloys. Aluminum bronze, and we're going to apply and close that. So now we have a material selected. So let's start with an extruded boss base on our top plane and just a basic center point rectangle. Pull it out, place it, and we said that it was 3 inches long and it was also 2.25, 2 1/4 wide. We exit that sketch, and I think our thickness is going to be 3/8 of an inch, and it is 3/8 of an inch. So come select this 0.375 and accept that with the green check. Alright, so the next thing that we want is this circular portion of it. So this circle, this tube is going to run all the way down to the bottom of it. We know that our height of it is 1.75 overall. So if we come to our feature manager tree, select the top plane, select extruded boss base, should orient normal to us. We're going to come place a circle here, and the diameter of that was 1.188, 1.188 or 1 3/16. So we're fully defined. Verify that down in the bottom right hand corner. We're going to come over here and I exit my sketch, and the overall height was 1.75. Now, if we'd have started up here on the top of this, we would have had to subtract out 0.375, but we started on the plane. We want to make sure that merge results is selected, so we have one body out here. So that's the beginning of this. Next thing that we want to do, I'm going to take a look at our front view. We've got, looks like it's a 781 radius on the outside of this, and we'll come back and do this cut last. So let's go ahead and place this little rooftop on here. Alright, so let's start with an extruded boss base. I'm going to pick just this front face here. I'm going to start with a regular line. I'm going to come up and let it snap right here on this edge. Pull it out. Now I'm going to come back and tickle the end point of this line until the concentric symbol shows up. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to place it down on this edge again. Pull a line straight down and then a line all the way over. Now, what I want to do is add a relation. Notice how my center point is not exactly vertical with this. So, add a relation. My bottom line is still selected. It's still baby blue. It's really hard to see with the way that this is. But my other entity that I want to select is our point of origin right here, or our UCS. So, I'll zoom in on it. I can then pick that. So I have my point of origin and that line, and I want to say midpoint. So the next thing that I want, I think that this radius was 0.781. So I only have one dimension called out here, and I'm fully defined because our relation, we've got it centered up on this, and now we want to extrude this material. So we exit our sketch. my extrusion is coming the wrong way. I want to go the other way. Well, let's just go up to a surface. So instead of selecting blind, we say up to a surface, and it doesn't really know where we want to go. I want to come around and I want to pick this back side. So it gives us the preview of material, and we want to go ahead and accept that. Alright, use the Control-7 command. So there's our isometric view. Now, we have this spherical ball on this part. If you look right here, it's got a spherical radius on here. Dimension-wise, it says that it's a 0.75 spherical radius, and it does also, the center point of it is 0.750 up. Alright, so we know that it's going to come from the bottom of the part, and the center of it's going to be 0.750. So let's go ahead and let's create that feature as well. So we can do that with a revolved boss base. So I want to select revolve boss base. It's going to ask what face or plane. I'm going to expand my tree out, and I want it to be on the front plane. So select the front plane. Should orient normal to us. I'm going to come up and grab a regular line. I'm going to start on my point of origin. I'm going to pull my line just way up. Now I come out, I'm still in the line command, but I come back and I tickle this, and my concentric symbol shows up. I'm going to come back down and I'm going to place it right here on our point of origin. Now I want to do this with, I want to control this. So this vertical line is already controlled by point of origin, but we don't really have a distance on it. So select Smart Dimension. We know that it said it was a 0.75 spherical diameter, so we say 0.75. So now we are fully defined, and we can revolve this. So when I exit my sketch, it doesn't really know what axis I want to revolve around because I don't have an axis out here. But I can pick this, and it's this center line, and it's going to be the same thing. So you can see this material that it's trying to add out here. So we go ahead and accept that, and now we have that spherical radius on here. So now as we look at this, the next thing that I want to do, I think, is I want to go ahead and cut a hole up here and maybe cut these teeth and then pattern them around, and then we'll work on the rest of this. So in the model, let's go ahead dimension-wise. I'm going to shut this one off. Dimension-wise, looks like we have a 15/16 or a 9/38 circle on the inside. The end of our tooth is going to be a diameter of 1.063. We may have to create some reference geometry for it, and it's going to be 60 degrees, and I think that it's going to be 30 of these included. That's on our other drawing. Alright, so let's go ahead and create an extruded cut. I want to be on this top surface. I want just a standard circle, and we said that it was 0.938, and we exit the sketch, and we want to cut through everything. So we say through all, and it should cut everything, so we accept that, and we now have a hole. Next thing we want to do is we want to cut one tooth profile here. So extruded cut. Let's pick this very top surface again. I'm going to draw a center line from here to here. And now I want to use a regular line, and I'm going to start on the end of this, and I'm going to draw my tooth profile. Let's just make it really big. So we want to add a relation. I want this line and this line to be equal. I want a smart dimension. I don't know what that is. I'm going to kill this one. I have no idea what that is. And now we said that the other one was 1.063 from here to here on the diameter. So that's 1.063, but I'm working with a radius, so I have to divide that by 2. And that gives us this profile here. I'm just going to give this some arbitrary dimension of, say, 0.2. It doesn't matter if I'm cutting open air or not. I'm going to remove this material here. So let's exit our sketch. We should still be an extruded cut. We are an extruded cut, and I want to say through all because I don't want to have to worry about it again. And we now have a single tooth profile. Okay. What I want to do here is I want to circular pattern this. So I'll say circular pattern. What axis? I want to just come over here and I'll look to the left. I'm going to start at the very top. So what axis do we want to cut around or revolve around? I'm just going to pick this outside cylindrical face because there's an imaginary axis through the middle of this. We want 30 of these instances, and the feature that we want, we can come over here and pick it in the graphics area, or we can come over and select it here. It gives us the preview if you have preview selected, and we'll go ahead and accept it, and that is that particular cut there. Now we have another cut that's going to be down here, so when we're looking at this, this little portion of it needs to be cut as well. So let's go ahead and cut that. We look at our drawing and it looks as if it is a 0.563 radius. We know that the center line is going to be even with the 0.375. So let's come up and select extruded cut. I want to pick this face here. I want a line. I'm not going to let it snap to anything other than just bottom edge, so I'm going to place it here. Don't worry about how high up it goes. I went back and I tickled that till my concentric symbol showed up. I'm going to come down and place it here, here, and I need to close it off with a line like we did last time. Use my escape key a couple times. I can't really see this line here, but I know it's there. So I'm going to say add relations. I don't have anything selected here because I hit escape. Now I want to show you, I pick this line and then I pick our point of origin, zoom way in on it, and I pick the origin, and we want to make it midpoint. Okay? Now the next relation that I want, I'm going to go ahead and accept this by just moving on to something else. So I'm going to pick this outer edge and then this radius here, and I want those to be concentric, and I accept it. Well, I need to make this line and this line equal. So now all I have to do is give it a smart dimension here, and it's going to be 0.563. So now we are fully defined by a midpoint relation between this line and this line. This line and this line are equal, which forces this radius to be tangent to those. We have a concentric relation between this outer edge and this radius, which is going to determine the height of this. And now we go ahead and we exit our sketch. We're cutting, and we want to just say through all. I can rotate it around and verify it's going the correct way, and I'm going to go ahead and accept that. So we're getting much closer to where we are ready to create some cuts along these areas. So as I look up here in our top view, I've got this cut and I've got this cut. We could do it, we could mirror it in sketches, and we can mirror it in the features. So let's go ahead and we're going to make a couple cuts, and then we're going to come back and mirror these commands. Alright, so it looks like we are 1.875 on the length and 1/4 inch on the depth. So let's go ahead and cut that one. So I'm going to select the top plane, click on it on the icon, a little flyout pops up, and I can select sketch, and we now have this. I'm going to come up and grab a center rectangle. I'm going to come over here until the midpoint shows up. I'm going to pull a rectangle out like this, and I know that our length was 1.875, and I know that our depth from here to here was 0.25. So we are fully intact. Let's go ahead and do the other one. Let's just circular pattern this instead of mirroring it twice. So on this one we have a cut of 1.125, and it also has a depth of 0.25. So let's create another rectangle. So we're going to go here and here. Smart dimension 1.125, and then from the edge to here for our depth of cut was 0.25. Now we're fully defined. I know that by coming down here and taking a look. Sketches are black, so we exit our sketch. I didn't have extruded cut selected, so I need to make sure that I select extruded cut. I want to just go through all. Mine is pointing the wrong direction, so I have to flip the direction here, and then I can accept it. So we now have this. So now, instead of mirroring this about, what we want to do is we want to create a circular pattern. So my axis is this round portion. I need to change this to 2. And the features that I want, I'm going to expand this out, and I want to select extruded cut. Make sure that equally spaced is there. So we now have those cuts. Alright. Now as we look at our note, it says that all radiuses are 0.06 unless otherwise specified. So it looks like we got some pretty small radiuses around these areas, but let's go ahead and get our bigger ones to begin with. Alright, so we got a 188 on these small sections, and we got 250 on the big corners. So let's go ahead and pick those. So let's select fillet. We're going to say 0.25. I'm going to pick this corner here. I come up and I can use this flyout sometimes to see if we can do it. But since we circular patterned it, it may not like the choices that we're going to be able to give it. So what I want to do is I want to come back and pick these individual lines, and we want that to be 0.25, so I go ahead and accept it. Now we come back to our drawing. These little edges on the long side, they're 0.188. Let's go ahead and put those on there. So we select fillet, we change our size to 0.188, and we come in here and we pick this edge, this, and this. Gives us a preview. We want to go ahead and accept it. Now, the rest of these radiuses around here were 0.06. So select fillet, 0.06. I want to pick this, come up to the flyout. I don't like the options that it's giving me in this. So let's go ahead and just manually select them. Now, one trick about this is you can actually see through the model. You can pick these edges, and you don't have to move your model around near as much. Notice how it highlights, and I can get that. But if you need to move it around, go ahead and move it around where you can see everything. Sometimes you can grab the wrong thing. If you do grab the wrong thing, you can just pick it again and it'll deselect it. And it looks like that's all of those. So go ahead and accept it. And Control 7. Put it in isometric view, and I think that we had some 0.257 holes for like a 1/4 tap. So let's come down here and take a look. It's 4 times 0.257 through everything. So that's these 4 holes here. So let's come back, and we want to use our hole wizard. So we select a hole wizard. It's going to be a letter F drill. This gives us the size of 0.257. We want to make sure that we go through all. We also want to make sure that there's no near side or far side countersink selected. Now the next thing that it wants to know is where is our positions. So we select positions, and I want to pick this face here. So pick the face and use a Control 8 command if it doesn't orient normal to you. Come and tickle one of these edges of your radius, and then place it right in the center point. And we want to do that 4 times total. And once you got all of them placed, they should be fully defined. Hit your accept button, your green check, Control 7. Hit your escape key a couple times, and I do believe that is your part in full. Let's go back and take a look. So we have our cut, we have this cut, these, we have our holes, we've got our spherical radius on here, we got a cut through here, and that is it. So make sure that you get this thing saved, make sure that you create your drawing and submit that in your learning management system.